Morena te aurere, morena te whānau. Really excited for this game. It was a bit of a cracker match in round one, and today really looking forward to seeing how the Manukau Raiders go up against Te Waipounamu.
Yeah, so we see Te Waipounamu in the green here with a nice backdoor play to start this game. As you mentioned, they are the defending champions.
Yeah, that's right. A rematch of last year's final, and in round one it was a 7-all draw, so these teams are pretty closely matched, and it'll be interesting to see who gets the advantage or the edge in today's game. And pretty early on we see a penalty against the Manukau Raiders for not rolling forward. Of course, Whānau, we're playing to the FIT 5th edition rules. The referees will be demanding a lot from the players, especially around their try line. And it looks like we've got first advantage already. Meg Sycamore from Te Waipounamu crosses for the first try of the game.
Yeah, and that's a nice play there by Te
With the Mr. Heap.
Waipounamu. It's just a low percentage play. So you see them draw the defence out. They just go to this left side here, and it's a nice little easy check. Late save, and it's Te Waipounamu who strikes first.
They did a really good job of that in the first round as well, working together in their little pods on the middle there, and benefit off a penalty from the referee call. Gave them a fresh set of 6 in front of the line, and they managed to capitalise off it. Oh, good little fake there from Jamie Colossi. It looks like she's over to even up the try tally, one each for the Manukau Raiders now.
Yeah, and that's just some nice eyes up footy there. You see, she's just looking at her options. A nice little dummy. She didn't even throw the ball in that dummy. She just threw her eyes to the side there, and the defence fell for it, and she goes in for her first.
A well-rounded athlete, also pretty good at sevens and netball, so has that instinct to, play eyes up footy, and I'm sure that'll come in handy today against Te Waipounamu. Oh, it looks like there's a dummy half call. Good option there from Te Waipounamu. The Manukau Raiders middles on defence doing enough to stymie the attack, and they'll look to push forward from here and yard out of their red zone.
Yeah, that's a nice play there by Te Waipounamu. It was the second time they went to that backdoor play, but it was a bit of a variation. They went to the plus, they dummied the backdoor and came back short side, but unfortunately didn't pay off. As we see the older sister, Tori Colossi, she has her first carry of the football.
They've managed to get to the right end of the field. A quick shout out as well to our officials on today's game. In the middle at the moment is Ben Matthews, on the far side Ray Lindsay, and also Justine Matangi Louis. So 3 pretty experienced referees, and already contributing to a nicely flowing match here today.
Yeah, and we saw in the first game, Mehua, how flowing and how open the game is, and is that because of the new rules, our new 7-metre rules?
Yeah, 2 parts I think. The rules for the referees, it's an adjustment, but also we expect and are demanding a lot of our players, but thankfully they're being as compliant as they can. As you can see here, as they're moving the ball through the field, they're getting all the way back on side with the referee. They don't want to concede a penalty, and what that does is it helps to contribute to a really nice flowing game. As we've seen for nearly each set of this game already, they're getting all the way down to the 7-metre line and setting themselves up for an attacking play. We've got a pick here from Jess Ma, as she almost manages to team up there, but unlucky that the ball didn't go to hand, and Te Waipounamu will escape on that one.
Yeah, and we see it was Jess's first striking play there. So this Manukau Raiders side, they do bring a lot of talent and strike power in the attacking zone, and they're invited back for their first set down this end of the field.
Yeah, what we saw in the first round as well was how important that transition phase was. The teams were doing a really good job on defence, getting up, making the touch, getting back on side, but often let down by little mistakes, especially going towards their sub-box, and then the other teams were capitalising on it too. So an important area of the game is sort of that middle of the field, that orange zone, and trying to make sure that you look after the ball as you're yarding through the field. A play on call here from the referee. It looks like Jess Ma got through the gap and managed to offload to Savannah Asafor. And another try there from the Manukau Raiders.
And this is just this new 7 metres. She would have been off onside in our old rules, but we've moved to a 7-metre attacking line now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Offside there.
And we saw the touch was made close to the 7-metre line, and the referees demanding their player to get all the way back to the try line. We saw on that replay there that she was a metre short, and they had the play on call, and the Raiders were the beneficiaries of, I guess, the defenders being caught offside there.
So we see the Waipounamu here, hot on attack. No shortage of firepower on both sides. Unfortunately, that little pop pass couldn't be controlled by Patricia.
We see already in this game the attacking players from both sides are managing to break through that line, get across that try line, and are looking for their options. Both sides. It might be a bit of a trend that we're going to see today, and almost as to who's going to be the better team at getting into position to catch those balls as the attacking player goes through for that scoop.
Yeah, absolutely, and we see a nice transition there by the Manukau Raiders side, and they're rewarded with a penalty. The Waipounamu's defensive line just caught a little bit offside there, so the refs are wanting a very expansive game, really opening this game, and it makes it exciting. It makes the game flow and allows these players to express themselves.
Yeah, it does. We were talking before the game as well earlier this morning about how much space and time the attacking team has inside that 7 metres. And we'll see here what Toi Colossi can make of it. Look at all that space. And a great opportunity there that the Manukau Raiders had and took. And a great try there from Victoria Pone.
Yeah, it's a nice backdoor play there. On the first touch they didn't get it, but they went back to the same move. It's just a nice little right foot jink. Beautiful dive, great finish.
And the great part about that setup was how they actually managed to turn Abby's shoulders. The number 5 there from Te Waipounamu. She got caught offside, stepped back inside by, I think it was Kale Huru, and easy try there from the Raiders.
Yeah, we're finding a lot of the players are turning their shoulders to get back on side. As we know, it is the 7 metres to get back now, so sometimes players do get caught out just turning their hips and their shoulders, as we see a low percentage play. Waipounamu.
It's the real tactical part of the game, or tactical, you could say technical as well, is the ability for those attacking teams to try and turn those shoulders of the defenders to try and, make the best advantage or maximise their opportunity when they've got the ball. And we'll see here, Te Waipounamu shifting the ball to the right. They might have numbers on this right side. But unlucky, Baron Abbott there couldn't keep the ball in hand. But it looks like there's opportunities on that right side if Te Waipounamu can keep looking down that corridor of the field.
Yeah, that's right. And we saw in the first game as well, the wind is going across the face of the field, so they're finding that left to right long ball and the right to left on the other side of the field.
Just a quick kōrero about this penalty here. So you'll see that commonly, I guess, across the game is whenever there is now an obstruction or in the ruck penalty, it actually gets advanced forward 10 metres. What they're trying to do is obviously discourage any extra efforts in that play the ball or the roll ball. And as a defender, what happens is you ended up having to go 20 metres back now. So it's definitely tidied up the ruck as much as it can.
And is that for all penalties or just this in the ruck penalty?
Just the in the ruck and obstruction one. So we're just trying to get a nice touch and then get the defenders back on side. And we can see here again on the replay that the Raiders have benefited from good field position and a great little setup here. Looked at the overlap. 2-on-0 on that wing there, and Lisa put touches down for another try for the Raiders, and they extend their lead now. I think it's 4-1.
Yeah, it's 4-1 to the Manukau Raiders, and we talked about that wind going across the face of the field. Nice right to left there, and as you said, it was a 2-on-0 out on that far side. So we see another backdoor play from Te Waipounamu. I'm not too sure what the call is here.
I think it was a penalty for dropping a bit too early. We saw that in a couple of games earlier today, and it's a bit of a learning process with these new rules. The referee's trying to get those players up and forward off that try line. Good touch made there by the Raiders. Another thing with regards to the wind as well is it really impacts on your ability to communicate, especially as a referee. It's a little bit harder to get the message out because the wind's blowing your kōrero away. And sometimes it's the same for the players as well.
As we see the Waipounamu, some solid defence here by the Raiders. Short side pick. Yeah, and they're going to give the try.
Excellent pick there from Olivia O'Neill. And we'll watch here on the replay. She sees the Gators wide open, looks for her options and manages to find Ella Donald for another try there for Te Waipounamu. As we mentioned before, it looks like these scoop options are on for the girls, and it might be a bit of a tune in today's game.
Yeah, and it was a nice little play there by Ella just to create a bit of space, enough space for her, between her and her defender, just to put that ball down. Nice, classy finish there by the winger. As we see Jess, she's back on the ball now.
And we've got an intercept there from the winger. For everyone new to the rules as well, on an intercept we have a 0 touch. So that one there now was 1 and this is 2. Follows on a little bit from the rugby league rules. Wow, some big contact there, but these girls are getting used to it now, and it's a bit of a play on call. And that extra touch comes in handy, especially now we're on the line. And they've got options here on the right again. Can they get the ball down? Ooh. Looks like we might have the touch call. A lot of contact there on the left wing. Who's that on that left side? We'll see if we can get a number, but they're working hard just to try and stop the Te Waipounamu team from getting some maximum advantage. As the Raiders now rucking out of their ends of the field, getting the subs on the field.
And we see a nice physical game by both sides. As you know, these players are athletes, so they can take a bit of a push and a shove. And that's them. Is that also them testing the limits and testing the referees as well, seeing what they can and can't do?
Yeah, especially on the try line, especially when you've got savers coming from either side. You want to still maintain that there's minimal force or contact, but at the same time, a referee's going to expect, if you're coming in from a certain angle, sometimes there might be more contact than in general play. So let's see what they can make here. Olivia O'Neill on the ball again, but it looks like she's been squashed there by the defense. But the defense were caught offside. A call there from our referee on field. I think it was an offside penalty. So they'll get a fresh set of 6 here on front of the try line. A handy position for Te Waipounamu to be in. One thing we noticed last week as well, Te Waipounamu are quite tall girls, so they can actually launch out from a bit further out when they're going for a dive. So not only have they got these options to look for the scoop and go through, but even if they can get on the back of a quickie and look to dive across the line, that might be another option that they'll look to as well.
Yeah, we saw the diving play in the 07 Heat game with taller players such as Morgan.
Yeah.
It's really opening up some space in there in that 7-meter zone, just for them to get low.
And what we notice in the first round is, players still getting used to and adjusting to these new defensive, profiles that are being thrown at them. And we're always looking for the options with the dive, but I think we might see a little bit more of it today. There might be a second penalty now against the Raiders. Just being a little bit too casual on the try line. The referees, you can see them both on the sideline and in the middle there, just demanding a lot more of the players from the Raiders to go forward. And we've got a bit more effort coming here. You can see that link nice and high. And now they've got to work all the way back to get 7 meters back on side.
Yeah, we've seen some very positive defense by this Raiders side. Usually in that 7 zone, you do seem to drop back and wait for the attack to come to you, but they're having really positive defense. They'll get them out there and they'll stop them, 3-4 meters from that line.
Last weekend they had the Tall Blacks camp at Western Springs, had a little chat to Peter McIntyre, and he was saying, look, that's what we want to encourage our teams to be doing now, is there's not really much benefit in dropping back early or staying or holding. You've got to be in a better position to make impact, and the best thing to do is continue to roll forward. So we're seeing some real shift in, the way people are playing the game. A little bit of, new ways of defending.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's really opening up the game. Makes it more exciting. It makes this game of touch that's already fast even faster. And we see a bit of show of speed from this Manukau Raiders side.
Yeah, a bit of an unorthodox try here, but a great great try there in the end from Lisa Put. Let's see what the setup looks like. Just a bit of a dummy and then go.
Some nice variation in the attack there. They're not sticking to their structure. Some nice eyes up footy there. Saw that the defence presented an open gap on that far side, and yeah, as you said, nice little dummy. So they go back to this backdoor play to Waipounamu.
There, we talked about that dive and that peel option, and bang, there we go. To Waipounamu strike back. Number 8 there, Michaela Moore. Let's have a look again. Great timing here on the peel. Nice and excellent pass off the ground as well. Spotted the gap and bang. Dots down for her first try of the game, and they close the gap to just 2 now. 5-3. The Raiders maintain their... Oh no, hang on. Maybe it wasn't a try. It looks like the referee have come back to call the forward pass. So unfortunate outcome there for the Te Waipounamu, but the right option was taken in my opinion. So if they can keep looking for that and confusing that defense, especially in the middle, they're going to set themselves up for some more opportunities going forward in the rest of this game.
Yeah, and I'm liking the backdoor play that they're presenting. That there are a few different variations off their play. They can give the backdoor, they can scoop, and they can also look to go back to the short side with their backdoor plus as well. So Te Waipounamu, some nice attack here. Unfortunately, they haven't capitalised too much on their good attack.
Yeah, I think it starts with their go forward. You see, a little bit casual here, a little bit of a slower pace. If they can get right down to that try line area, the 7-metre area, and set themselves up well, they might be in a better position to strike, especially later in the set. But what I do like, and I've noticed in these games, is with the bigger distance for the defenders have to get back to, it looks like the game's a little bit simpler in the sense that, you can play, nice little dummies or show and go, and sometimes that's enough to get over the try line. So in many ways, these new rules have almost simplified the attack. As we look here, Olivia O'Neill again in the middle. She's a bit of a threat, and they managed to find that option on the left there through Brooke McElwee.
Yeah, and that's nice play off the ball by Brooke there. Just to bounce out, as we see. She splits the open side, and there's a nice little bounce out.
Good setup there from the co-captain Janelle Kavanagh. She's really key for them, and look for her to be present, especially when it comes to the attacking end. She's really one of the leaders for this Te Waipounamu side. As the Raiders look to bounce back, only 2 minutes left, but they'll be wanting to try and put more pressure on Te Waipounamu before the first half ends. What they're struggling with a little bit here is sort of engaging the defense. Oh, yeah. And we've got a dummy half call. And if Te Waipounamu can get some really good yards off this set, they're going to set themselves up for in a good position to finish this half. But it looks like a bit of a messy ruck. It might have been a forward pass from the ruck there.
Yeah, it was. And that's very unfortunate for this Te Waipounamu side. As you mentioned, their defence, they're playing a more man-on defence, and they're not latching to any drags or any late cuts.
And things like that, a late cut, you can see the space there on the left-hand side. Some of these easy little plays are actually real options now, with an extra 2 metres in front that the defence has to get back on side to. And it looks like the defence were realigning a little fresh set for the Manukau Raiders in front of their try line. Oh, unfortunate end to that set there by just a slip of the ball out of their hands from Jamie Kolosi. But they want to put pressure here on Te Waipounamu to make sure that they can try and stay at this end of the field and finish off the rest of this half well.
Yeah, and we see Te Waipounamu look to have a good transition here, and hopefully they can get a nice strike play. They'd love to score one more before the end of this first half. And man, that first half has gone by quickly, as we see Te Waipounamu on their 5th touch here. Back to their striker. She's broken the line. She's just looking for someone who's available. And a lovely finish, and they close the gap there.
And again, one of those strike weapons, it was Olivia O'Neill who spotted the gap, managed to get through. and just looked around. She had all the time to try and find that person to link up with, and she finds number 10. I think it was number 10. Yeah, number 10, Janelle Kavanagh. Dots down for another try, and only one for the Raiders with the lead now as we go into half-time.
Yeah, so we might see one more strike play before the hooter. No, ref has called it. So the Manukau Raiders lead Te Waipounamu at the end of the first half, 5 points to 4. We'll start with this Manukau Raiders side there in front. A pretty solid first half from them.
If you have a look at their team and their team list, you know, full of attacking power and a lot of options that they've got when they've got ball in hand. As a team, I think there's a bit more gel and connection that they need just on defence, and especially sort of on that link and wing side, maybe a bit more corridor from them is needed, just to make sure that they're tightening up, because it doesn't look like Te Waipounamu is throwing a lot of long balls. They're looking at the options sort of closer to the middle of the field. If they can read that and you know, respond from that, I think it'll put them in a better position in the second half.
And Te Waipounamu, they are the defending champs, but you mentioned before the game there are a few new faces this year.
Yeah, there are, but still led by sort of the stalwarts of their team. While they don't have Dana Turnbull in their star, and we've seen a really strong performance already from Olivia O'Neill. Defensively, just like we said with the Raiders, they just want to make sure that they're getting back on side nice and early, and not wanting to turn over the ball in I guess the wrong part of the field, because you know, little things like those drop balls or those forward passes from the ruck, the Manukau Raiders have actually scored a couple of times off their mistakes. So a little bit of a tidy up process, but otherwise I think going into the second half, they just want to maintain their basics, keep talking to each other, working hard as a unit, and I still think that there's a good option for them to come back and take this one out. They're only down by 1, so you can never say never.
Yeah, and it's a real arm wrestle out there, and we saw most of the tries came off the back of penalties or a drop ball, a little mistake. So if, like you said, if they can control the ball and stay in their arm wrestle, and hopefully the opposition do let these mistakes creep in, especially in the second half, hopefully they can capitalise.
Definitely. If you look at 2 of those tries that Te Waipounamu had scored against them from the Raiders, they were just little show and goes. So maybe the defence was a little bit over-reading, and, you know, unorthodox, a bit uncommon tries. So, you know, the score could be a little bit closer. They're definitely still in this one, and you can see how well they're working when they've got ball in hand to spot those gaps. It's sometimes when it's coming off those 33 picks, or sometimes when they're, you know, scooping through and then connecting well with their outside players. They've got all the options here. It's just about execution, I think, second half.
Yeah, and we saw the Waipounamu, they found a bit of space with their backdoor plays as well, so hopefully they can stick to that and capitalise on it in the second half.
Yeah, definitely. And half-time is also a really important process or time for our referees as well, not only the teams, but the referees also come together and say, hey, what worked? What do we need to look at? Are there a few trends that we need to sort of address going into the second half? We had a few penalties, especially on the try line at both ends. The players were a little bit casual in moving forward, so in the second half, I think we'll see the referees insert themselves and be more present in the game. See, just like this, they want to make sure that they stay on top of the players going forward to make sure that the game is nice and tidy. There's attacking opportunities both ways.
Yeah, and it was nice officiating in that first half. I sat with Maya at the Nationals, and he said the best referees are the ones you don't notice. And I didn't notice any you know, overruling calls by the referees in the first half. They let it flow nicely, and when they had to chime in, they chimed in. So awesome work in their first half by the refs. Yeah,
and we've got some gun referees here today. What makes them different or stands them apart maybe from general population is really their ability to communicate as the first thing, and the second thing is their ability to read the game as well. Guys like Myra, you know, not only as a referee, but also a pretty esteemed coach. He's won a national title with Paeroa College a couple of times. Really good read of the game, and that helps. If you understand the game well, it really helps you as an official as well.
So we see the Waipounamu making their way up the field here. They look to get some fresh legs on after that defensive set. Look to roll in. into this 3-3 pick. She comes back to the short side and a nice chopping play. The ref is looking at her sidelines and she's given it.
Yeah, we talked about execution at half-time, and this is exactly what Te Waipounamu would have wanted going into the second half. A great option here taken by Meg Sycamore to match up with her chopping link. Was that number 15, I think, Annie Timu? Excellent work there by Te Waipounamu. I think we're 5-all now.
And that try just comes off the back of nice flow, nice transition.
What I liked as well, as they were moving down the field, that they saw that the defensive line from the Raiders was a little bit, it wasn't flat. It was, you know, a couple of players were up and then a couple were back, and a few checks helped them get down the field. And now the Manukau Raiders have responded straight away through a try through Maya Hitaraka.
Yeah, and it's just a simple play here to go to that back door with a follow. Huge gap in the middle there. Nice response there by Manukau Raiders.
Maya in a good position, as you always want to teach your players, you know, hands up, always be ready. Even if you've just passed the ball from dummy half, you've got to be ready for that follow play as well.
So we see the Waipounamu try the same move on the other end of the field.
Bit cheeky that, trying to score again off the same play that you got scored on.
So they're looking to come to this back door again. They went for it there, but unfortunately, so fifth play. To kill the ball on that far end of the field. Makes it harder for the Raiders to get to their sub box. Yeah, they've isolated to Kolose there in the middle. Have to come find some subs now, bring some fresh legs in. Fourth touch now.
They're moving the ball to the left, and it looks like we've got a call for a drop ball. Always a tricky one to call as a referee, but I think she was in the right position to make that call. The defensive player looked like she was going for the touch, and the Te Waipounamu team will get the ball back. A good defensive set, I think, from them. You know, they stopped the Manukau Raiders from getting all the way to the 7-metre line, but it looks like it might be another issue here at the ruck. It might have been a forward pass from the ruck. We mentioned again at halftime, if they can try and stop some of these little errors, it'll help them throughout the game. And now the Raiders, you know, just about in front of their try line, have got a fresh set, so they're going to look to strike again here.
So it's the same backdoor play. Oh, Jamie Kolose. Nice finish.
Oh, hang on. It looks like we might have a touch call first. I think that the referee has responded, but good setup. And this little pod here with Jess Ma and Jamie Kolose and I think Kele Huru is a real strike pod. They had an opportunity here, but again, it looks like the referee's called that the player was going for the touch. Oh, a tough call there made. I think Jamie will look for another opportunity. We talked about dives before. There's opportunities right there in the middle of the field.
Yeah, we're fortunate enough to see the replay there. The touch was made, but maybe in 1 or 2 steps offside there. Unlucky there for the Raiders. But we see Te Waipounamu.
Yeah, that was the right call. You can see here, I think both number 7 and also number 5, Jess Ma, were both still in front of the line. So the referee's called a penalty for offside. And that's what you don't want is, you know, 5th touch. We get a penalty so that the other team's got a fresh set on the line. But it looks like Te Waipounamu might be over for a try. Yeah. Another little quickie play into a dive. That's Meg Sycamore.
And like you mentioned there last week, the first round a couple weeks ago, it was a draw, and it's another close one today.
Yeah, toe-to-toe. And we've still got 13 minutes to go. It's anybody's game. Execution really important, but also making sure that you're tightening up on defense. For the whānau at home, it's quite warm down here. I'm going to guess about 22, 23 degrees, and it's probably going to get warmer as the day goes on, but it'll be interesting to see what kind of effect in terms of fatigue it takes on these players' bodies. It might be a case of the fitter team winning in the end.
Yeah, that's right. And we saw in that first round, it was quite wet. But this dry weather has allowed these players to express themselves a bit more. Seen a few more long balls today.
Yeah, the Te Waipounamu girls were saying, oh man, it's warmer than we're expecting. We're not used to these kind of climates. In fact, last week almost suited them with the rain.
Yeah.
And a little bit of the cold. And it was a little bit of a slower track, but not to say that they don't bring the heat with them when they're out on the field. They've definitely got a great yards and awesome options when they get down to that 7 metres. But again, just those little errors they want to try and tidy up to keep themselves in front if they can get that way.
Yeah, and these are the little sloppy errors you get that come with fatigue. It's just a little bit of miscommunication, or the pass goes a little bit astray. But like you said before, the discipline, and if they can hold on to the ball and complete their sets, I think that's the team who will pull away and who will take this one out. This
will be a really interesting set here with the Manukau Raiders. Fresh set of 6 and Jamie Colosi on the ball. She's teaming up here with Zaid Sarah Baldwin, and there we go. Too easy. She just had to bide her time and she got that try she was looking for earlier.
Yeah, and like you mentioned before, she does love that dive. Easy low percentage, quickie play here, and just a little left foot step.
A good time there to chuck in a dive as well, because the defence, really weren't looking for it on the second touch sort of thing. And as a defensive unit, the Te Waipounamu, they don't want to concede those easy ones.
Yeah, they look for that backdoor player, and I like that the defence by the winger on that far side for the Manukau Raiders. She just lifted off her line, so when that backdoor player looked up, she was already there, just in that lane, just to disrupt the flow, and it was a nice defensive play by the winger there.
Definitely,
I believe stopped her from going to the outside. She had to come back inside and created the error there. And we see Manukau Raiders, unfortunate with the... They got their count wrong there.
They got their count wrong. I wondered what they were doing, because they were going in for another drive. I thought, oh, hang on. So you wouldn't call that an error, because at the end of the day, they're at the right end of the field. But some of those things you can also tidy up as a team from the sub box. You want somebody in the box just to keep account. And another little error there from Te Waipounamu. It looks like the Raiders will get the ball back.
Yeah, that's right. Communication is huge out there, especially from your box, just to let you know where you are on the field, how many more touches you have left.
It's a real underrated asset, I think, for teams. The impact or the help that having your team on the sub box can do to lift your team, especially when you're on the defensive end.
Yeah, that's right. You see Colosi back on the ball now. She throws a beautiful right to left. And they just open up the gap here.
Great manipulation here. You can see earlier in the game, the Raiders were doing a lot in the middle of the field off 33s, but bang, now that there's all the space out wide, with the defense, tightening up, let's see if they continue to look for those long balls.
Yeah, it's nice variation in her play. You saw the Waipounamu defense, they just came in a little bit tighter, just because they knew she does have that dive, and then she looked outside with the long ball. Made it easy for her winger.
She's definitely got all the tricks in her magic box there.
Yeah, tika tonu. So you see Te Waipounamu.
And you can hear some of their kōrero coming from the Raiders box. 2 to go, no penalties. They want to continue to apply pressure. And they've done the job there. They managed to stop Ata Whaihotene there in the corner. And the Raiders, the ball on the right side of the field for them as well. So they'll look to ruck forward, get the fresh legs on, and get in another good position to make a strike play as they get down to the end of the field.
Yeah, and there's some good yards here by this Manukau Raiders side. One thing that's really impressed me with this side is just their ability just to control the ball and complete all of their sets. They're not giving up any silly little errors. Oh, nice chopping line. Good defense there by the winger.
Yeah, it was good defense, and you're right. Manukau Raiders so far in this first half, very few penalties and very few errors. As a coach, you would be pretty happy with that. On the other side now, Te Waipounamu, 2 or 3, maybe 4 little errors in this second half. Execution, maybe a little bit lacking. Wonder if that's got to do with the fatigue or the heat. playing its part in today's game. But now the Raiders will look to extend their lead if possible here in this play.
So we see Jess on the ball there. Nice little skip out with a pass. The defense was up to it.
She was the one that Jamie scored on before. Maybe they're looking to target her or isolate her and try and play off that. She's doing a mountain of work out there. I think that's the first 2 or 3 touches she's done on her own. Here she comes forward again. And a penalty against the defense. Looks for it might be either a heavy touch or not rolling forward. But the Raiders really feeling like they're in control of this game to me now.
Yeah, they've slowed the pace up a bit. I think they're winning the arm wrestle at the moment, as you mentioned before. Might be a bit of fatigue. These little errors have crept in. Because they have that 2-point buffer. Just playing to their pace, and a nice left foot step by Kolose again. She's very dangerous out there.
Yeah, asking questions of the defense. And again, she's teaming up here with Kalehuru and Jess. Oh no, Lisa Put. They'll look for the options out wide here. Too easy. Oh no, the option was there, but it looks like we might have a forward pass instead. Good officiating there from the referees to pick that one up. Just like with the our players out there, the teamwork for the referees is also a really crucial role. If we get a zoom in at all, you might see that they've actually got microphones and earpieces in at this tournament. Yeah, so for a forward pass, that actually can get communicated from the sideline referee. It really helps with them and doing their mahi as a group. But an unfortunate area there from Te Waipounamu, and the Raiders will look to go forward from here.
It's cool that there's new technology being introduced into our game. I know a few of the players out there in both the men's and the women's grades are wearing GPS trackers just to track their meters and their output.
I'll tell you, a lot of the referees, obviously, we wear a watch for the time just to keep a track of that. Some of them have, their distances, and a lot of them are running between 4 and 5K per game.
Man.
So a lot of mahi that gets done out there, especially on the legs.
And is that a lot of it running backwards?
A lot of it running backwards, yeah. So it has an impact, especially like hamstrings and calves. You'll see after the games, before the games, a lot of stretching gets done, not just by the players, but especially by the referees as well. So it can be a tough gig, not just mentally and applying the rules, but also physically and on the lungs in particular.
And over the course of a day, how many games would a referee?
At most, it'll be 3. Oh, looks like we've got a play on call here, but for most, just 2 games a day. Sneaky little try here by number 11, Tamika Flavel. Let's see what happens. Oh, it looks like Meg might have just slipped over and got caught out offside. The space there just opened up, and Tamika just dots the ball down for another try.
Yeah, it's nice just to identify that the player's off her feet. She wasn't onside, so they went at her. So we see this lead. Counties Manukau Raiders, they take their lead to 3 points. The Waipounamu still looking to strike in the second half. A couple of errors have let them down, and a few penalties as well on the fence.
I'll tell you what, I'm struggling to hear you because all I can hear is the Raiders sub box. They're really vocal, and I think it helps their defence. Oh, hang on, we might have an injury here. That's not a good look. But up till this point, the Raiders doing a really good job as a unit, both defensively and with the tautoko from their sub box. Looks like our mate Lisa Rua might have taken a bit of a hit on her knee. Hopefully it's nothing serious. It might have just been impact as she fell to the ground.
Yeah. Hopefully it's just a bump and not hyperextension or anything like that, because there was a bit of contact in that touch. Nothing malicious, just oh.
And that happens sometimes. You have to make an adjustment just really quickly as a player comes off, and bang, look, the cameraman wasn't even ready either.
Left us speechless.
Yeah, that's the Waipounamu team. Strike back, another try there from Janelle Kavanagh.
And that's just nice attack, just providing a different attacking option there. Not even taking the touch, just running a nice drop line. So we see, yeah, went behind her. We see our defensive middles and links, they're looking to go to get into the lane there.
Yeah, we'll look to see another replay just as we were watching the last one. The Raiders managed to score another try. Oh, look who it is, Jamie Colossi again with a dive. You can almost guarantee 2 tries from here every game. She's been asking the question of the defense a lot, and she's really come through strong for the Raiders today.
Yeah, nice response there by the Raiders. So we see the Waipounamu, just over 2 minutes to play in the second half.
What we've noticed in the second half is less penalties, especially on the try line, and more tries. So from all involved, from the referees to the players as well, we've had a really nice second half. Only 2 minutes remaining. A big ask here to Waipounamu. Will want to score off the set if they want to try and sneak out a win. And look at the Raiders doing everything they can, getting up the link nice and high there. Last touch now. Janelle Kavanagh looking for her options, but they run out. Oh no, she was right. The middles were offside. So they'll take another fresh set in front of the try line here.
Yeah, good opportunity here for the Waipounamu. They look to come down the lane here. No.
What we're seeing defensively with a lot of the teams now is the link getting up high and actually making that touch to save the workload of those middles. And watch our number 14 here on the right, and also I think Savannah on the left. They're getting up really nice and high, trying to confuse and shut down those opportunities for the middles.
Yeah, and that is a nice defensive pattern, that mad dog defense, I think some teams call it. So we see another touch. It's proactive defense as opposed to reactive. You're not waiting for the attack to come to you. You're actually presenting something to them, only one option to them.
And probably the most important ingredient is the corridor, the communication through the team. Especially if the ball moves, you want to know, oh, okay, no, you stay defensively so that you don't get caught out at all. But the Raiders have done a really good job defensively, not just in the second half, but throughout the game, to read what Te Waipounamu are trying to throw at them.
We see some more nice yards. 5th touch here. Look at their options. And even though they don't score on the back of that set, it's a nice set. Second best you can get out of a set is to kill the ball on the 7 metre line, sorry.
And what's been really good, what I was going to say is on this right-hand side of the field, in front of the sub-box for Te Waipounamu, the Raiders have done a really good job of putting pressure on, which I think has led to a lot of those errors that have come through for Te Waipounamu. So a really strong defensive effort from the Raiders in the middle of that field, which probably contributed a big time to the final result, a 10-7 win to them.
Yep, so we see Manukau Raiders take this one out.